Okay. Did you write down any topics or questions beforehand that we definitely need to cover?
Not really. My main thing is just like, what do I need to do next to progress my main? Should I switch? I have like some legacy items, like some of the Ghost Ship Afterlands badges, like on my
Okay.
Buck and my Ice Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know,
Ghost
like I
ship.
like the Bowmaster. It's pretty
Right.
chill. It's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. You're like switching mains, or like bring it up as a side character or a boss mule, or?
I mean, potentially bring it up to my main. I mean, the Bowmaster's not much far ahead of most of my boss mules. I've been bringing them all up to like CRA, and the Bowmaster can only do easy lucid, easy will.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But you have no problem with that, so you could maybe do long run normals and maybe struggle hard, or not yet? Not that far, you think?
Normal, I can do normal. I did normal lucid last week.
Mm-hmm.
Normal will, I'm not sure about. I haven't tried it. My first clear of easy will was last week, just because I didn't feel like watching a video and I had never looked up the mechanics. So I said, "Fuck it, I'll do it." Last week, and I looked it up, and
It was better than you expected, not as bad.
not too bad. One of the phases, the phase where you have to like follow the pattern and either get hit or dodge the like spider legs coming down.
Yeah, the second.
I
Yeah.
died a few times at that, but it wasn't too bad. I think I only missed like 2 cycles, so.
Okay. A natural, I see. A natural talent over here. Yeah, there's
Oh
definitely.
yeah.
There was always a little bit of a learning curve for that back in the day. If you ever picked anyone who's like, "Oh, this is my first time," you know you were gonna be failing tests endlessly. I don't know how long of a player you are, but back in the day, if you ever failed a single test on Will, it would just, you had to wait another 2 minutes before the next test happened. So if that happened 3 or 4 times, you were just locked in there for 6 or 8 extra minutes, just hopping around with no healing, trying to survive. And phase 2 was the bane of everyone's existence, essentially, in the beginning. Of course, with healing FAMs and in a bigger party, you can overcome a lot of that, as long as you play a little bit safely and there's some strategies. What level are we?
262 in the
Mhm.
Bowmaster. The AB is 260. I leveled it up during like the burning event and the new AB event, and I got there in
Uh-huh.
like literally a week. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't unlocked the 6th job on it. I just haven't felt like training on it. I've just been doing the bosses.
Okay, but you're just doing the bosses without 6, so you're doing up to what? You're doing slime, or you're
I
just
can
doing
do
Akechi, CPAP, and down?
a catchy CPAP and down, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't even do slime on the Bowmaster. Again, I just haven't watched a video for it. I did it once in a party, and everyone else just did the mechanics. I don't know how they work, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yeah, just to get a little bit of an idea of where you're at. I think you took some pictures as well of the bosses that you're doing, right?
Yes, down at the bottom.
Let's see. Kaiser bosses solo.
Yes, Kaiser's my most recent level up,
Mhm.
along with the Bishop. And the Bishop I haven't even unlocked CRA yet, but I've done Hard Magnus on it, so like I know it can do up to those bosses.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're all in like what is it, like their 10k plus stat ratio, like
I
12
can check
to.
right now. Let me log in. They're
Maybe
probably all
Mon-Sun's.
about like 8k to 10k, I would think.
Okay, up to 10. Okay. Buck boss solo.
And most of them aren't like 235. Most of them are like 220 to 235, somewhere in that range.
That's a really good place to be at for bosses in the beginning. So would you say you enjoy doing like a lot of boss mules and more variety in your gameplay more than like hardcore training grinding on one character?
Definitely. Like I didn't play a ton before like they made the daily change, where dailies give like a lot more EXP and stuff like that now. And that's really helped my leveling, as well as like the last 2 events giving like the EXP tickets and stuff like that. That's like I went from like 7,500 Legion to like 8,500 in like the last 3 months.
Okay. So do you find yourself having to make a bit of a decision on whether you're going like further horizontally or vertically, like more in width or in depth with the game?
Yes. I don't know. That's why I said I don't know if I should focus on the Bowmaster, because I
Yeah.
like the Bowmaster. It's pretty easy. The healing on it's nice. I know they did just nerf that, so it might not be as nice. I haven't done any like bosses this week, and I don't know. That change might have been like 2 weeks ago, but
No, that's just in Korea so far, so that's like 6 months.
oh, it's
out
just
for us.
okay. So
Yeah,
it's still
no
okay.
worries yet, yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure if I should keep investing into the Bowmaster, if I should switch to one of these other characters with the legacy items, if I should switch. The AB bossing has been super easy, like so much faster than the Bowmaster. I press like 2 buttons and the bosses die. On the Bowmaster, I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes holding down Hurricane. So it's definitely like a different feeling playing the AB.
And like the way that they're geared and everything, because the Bowmaster I assume has 6 job, right? Because I saw the Hexa matrix.
Yeah, the
here
Bowmaster
somewhere.
has 6 job. It's got some stuff unlocked. I haven't looked at any guides or anything like that, so I'm probably not doing them in the correct order. But
okay, yeah.
it's been going pretty smooth so far.
Well, we could look at that. Typically, if you check out like Bowmaster, like
I'm not
the
on
class
any
Discord?
of the Discords or anything
Okay.
like that. No,
Is it
I've
something
been
you
playing
just
like
don't wanna-
completely solo.
Okay.
It's just I don't know. It's more interesting to me that way, playing solo. Like again, I'll look up a video guide if there's something I really don't understand on YouTube or something, or if I'm on like a map and I'm like, holy fuck, the training here is really bad. I'll look up like an AFK training guide or something like that. But yeah, I've mostly been just leveling stuff up as I go, and I could check out the Discords. I'm not like against it, but yeah.
But you haven't yet because you could still feel like you're generally progressing, so it doesn't really you don't need.
Yeah,
to.
I feel like it hasn't really affected me that much. You know, I'm getting. I look up like what nodes I need and stuff like that, like my tri nodes. But that's pretty much the only thing I've looked up on my characters, and then I just level things up as I get them.
So there could be some. Could there be optimization differences you done between
definitely.
the AB and the BM, or do you build them in a similar way?
They've been built in a similar way. Like I said, the AB hasn't unlocked 6th job yet, so I haven't done any of the Hexa on it. I haven't even messed with it, but everything, like all my tri nodes have been looked up, so all that's leveled to like the skills it should be and stuff.
Yeah. So do you?
But again, like
but it feels more your playstyle on the AB, or does it just feel way stronger?
it just feels like it does way more damage. Like it's so much easier to kill bosses. I've got like a 10-second iframe on it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that is nice. I mean, I guess the idea for BM is that you have perma iframe with all the lifesteal and the. It's possible that you're doing some content where, like for slime, for example, some other classes struggle quite a bit because there's a lot of little chip damage and there's a few really big attacks that don't 100% kill you, but they will if your HP isn't full. And then a lifesteal class like BM could make it so that you're always full HP essentially, and that those attacks are then never dangerous. And if something were to happen, then you always have those guardian angel dudes like flying behind you, and you just consume one of those, and then you're still alive. So it definitely has. There's some content where some classes are going to be way better, and some where other classes are going to be way better. But I think it's a pretty good idea that if you're thinking like, okay, I'm going to push past 260, you want to make sure that you're pushing the right character, the one that you will enjoy, past 260.
Yeah,
but you're going to stay, for the foreseeable future, you're going to stay like a daily gamer, as we call it, right? Basically training maybe a little bit per day, but mostly just doing dailies and overall.
Yeah, doing dailies,
events,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing. I don't know, like by heart, right? The Hexa Matrix build. There's probably some unlocking of the skill nodes, I would guess, for extra damage. Basically, like the baseline skill nodes on the bottom left is like 10% FD on the skills themselves.
Just with like one level?
Just for level 1. I mean, level 1 is pretty expensive, right? It's probably more tempting to level up the other 2 that you've already unlocked because the level ups are a lot cheaper than the unlock on the bottom left. So by the time you get to that amount of resources, you've already spent it. So you never really get to that point. But I'm pretty sure that your bursts would benefit a lot, and then because I think your DPM on Bowmaster when your skills are down is, that's kind of trash. You're just using that to make sure your HP stays up, essentially. But your burst lasts pretty long, so if you expend these, because this like Storm of Arrows thing, I believe, lasts like 70 seconds or something. Like, it's a pretty long buff. So if you boost that one, it actually increases your DPM by a lot as well, because you take that increased damage with you for a longer time. So looking that up would give you a little bit better of an idea of like what the general angle is. I don't know if it's still the same one. Ginger can tell me if it's completely wrong. So I use, I'm kind of the same way. The main reason I use these commands is that sometimes I can look stuff up for myself, but mostly I don't really look at these at all either. I just put them up because a lot of other people like to look up things. And then the way that I make my guides and everything, I try to make them in a specific way that I don't take all of the decision making out of people's hands. I just give them like the raw details and like the raw stats and options, and then people can do whatever the fuck they want with it afterwards. You know, I try to make sure I don't make decisions for people at all, because that's not fun for me either. Like, I would never play a completely new game that I've never played, and then the first thing I do would be like to look up a guide on how to do it. Be like, then why am I playing the game? I'm just trying to copy what someone else tells me to do. Like, that's not playing a game. But again, I guess if people watch streams, that maybe that is I don't want to play the game, because you're literally watching someone else play the game like while during a stream, right? So I don't know. Everyone plays it there in their way. So I'm definitely not making content for the broader audience, probably. What the hell is this Bowmaster, dude? Did I already go past it? I probably passed it. It's gotta be all blue. Okay, it's not this blue, dude. This is nightmare. By the way, look at this. How are you supposed to tell which skill is which, dude? It's just all friggin' white and blue. God damn it. It's the FD one. Oh, this one? Oh my god, it doesn't even have pictures. No wonder my ADHD brain just went right past it. Wait, no, this can't be the right one. Which one did I send my mom? Nah. Did I send one to my mom? Did I send my mom this picture? That's the old one. Ginger, link me the new one. But basically what people, you know, figured out is you can kind of, based on your BA, right, your battle analysis. Have you ever used that tool?
Yeah.
Based on that, you can kind of check if you do a proper burst, you know, what is supposed to be like the best setup. You can see how much of your damage which skill is. And then based on that and the cost of upgrading, you can kind of tell, like, upgrading this skill here, it gives you this efficiency per fragment compared to all the other possible upgrades at that time. And then you can just rank them all. And then basically that gives you the optimal route from 0 to hero in terms of getting the best efficiency per fragment that you spend.
Okay, yeah. That's
the idea behind it. There's definitely, in the beginning, there's like insane efficiency. Like for some people, it's like, oh, just upgrading your first mastery core gives you like 11% FD or something, right? And then your third level up somewhere gives you like 2%, which is still really good. And then like your 10th one gives you like 0.2% or something, right? Like it drops down like a brick really quickly. So if you're planning to play a lot of characters, what I would definitely do is just unlock 6 job, unlock just the 2 mastery cores, and then past that, maybe like the most influential skill boost node, 1 or 2. But if you have that, it's basically the same as saying like, oh, I'm going to make a boss mule, but I'm not going to unlock 5th job on it first, you know? That's like, but 5th job can completely change the character. And in a similar way, not as extremely, but in a similar way, 6th job could completely change your character. So it's a good idea before you're going to commit to like longer term main, that I would definitely look at the 6th job, unlocking it, and getting some experience with that, and then seeing, giving them a fair shake, right? And as much as I don't want to get into like you need to hyper optimize everything, as long as you keep the general idea of like I'm just going to kind of do whatever, you got to still compare them like equally in efficiency, but for some classes it might hurt them more than others, because some stats they might just rely on more than others, right? So like you're saying, that the AB, you know, it seemed like it killed bosses way faster than Bowmaster. If I look up everything that you have and everything, am I gonna know that your IED is like perfectly optimized, for example, when you're bossing? Is that kind of stuff like where damage comes from and how that works? Have you kind of looked into that on those fundamentals?
I mean, I've got pretty decent IED on most of my guys, just because I've got like pretty high Legion. And that's where I put like my Legion artifact and stuff like that. I don't have any familiars, that's why there's none in there. But
Gotcha. Okay.
I usually try to keep it somewhere around like 94 to 97%, depending on like how far the character is. Like I feel like the AB and the Bowmaster are pretty much at the same percent for IED.
Okay. Oh well, yeah. No, they're definitely at a good amount. Just wanted to like double check because if it could be a really big thing where if you set up everything perfectly but you fuck up your IED, then your whole character is just going to be garbage. You know, because of the armor of the bosses, then you can work as hard as you want on your character, but you're not going to commit any damage to the actual boss, so it's not going to help, right? That's kind of what I was getting at. But so you have those fundamentals. Did you pick that up somewhere, or did you look that up, or?
Can you hear me? Sorry, I had to turn.
Yeah, I
I
can hear you.
launched MapleStory and I had to turn push to talk off.
Oh, okay. I was talking about like where you figured out like the IED and how that works. Did you happen to come across that somewhere in resources, or?
It was. I honestly don't even remember. It was just something I probably looked up like a million years ago. Like when I first started playing. I've been playing since like before Big Bang. I started like 2006 maybe.
Okay.
So, but I've played like on and off for years. Like there was a bunch of years I didn't play, and then I would come back for like events or when like new classes came out and stuff like that, and I'd get up to like 120, 140, something like that, and I'd be like, okay, that was fun, and then I'd stop playing.
Yeah.
And then, like end of last year, I started playing again, and then I had to take a couple months off, and then I just started again at the start of that last event. The one where there was like 1 million tickets and a bunch of like growth potions and shit like that.
Yeah.
Not this most recent one, but the one like just before that. And then, like I said, I got like 1,000 Legion levels. All my guys from 140 got up to 200 or like 180-ish now. So, but yeah, long time playing.
Yeah. Well, I guess because after a time and when events end and you got to go into the hardcore grind and it's not your thing, you inevitably start tapering off again a little bit how much you play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty normal. Ginger, what the fuck is this? Does this imply getting everything to level 1 first? It doesn't say that.
Oh, it does look like that.
Because it starts. I only see 2s in.
Everything starts
here, right?
at level 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sort of doing it right. I just didn't level everything to 1 first.
You say always get everything to. Well, that's not true. For some classes, you don't. So they're like employing that. Like if you're a Demon Avenger, for example, you get your blast to level 1 after you get 3 others, 2 others to 29 and 1 other one to 30, 1 other one to 7. Then you get your blast to 1. He never said for every class. Always get everything. Always everything is for all classes. That's what that implies. Like this kind of implies that that's normal that you always do that, but you don't always do that. So they should include that. But you should definitely include it because you should include the order of which you're getting everything to 1, because that also has an efficiency within it. For Bowmaster, yeah.
And I got on the AB. The AB has 96.6 ignore defense.
Okay. Yeah, that's
and
that's
266 boss damage.
Wait, honestly, at that point, that might be a little bit high. But if you have like an earlier character, it's perfectly fine to have 1 or even 2 lines of IED like on your weapon secondary emblem potential, and just if you don't have perfect other stuff, not perfect, probably no superior Golic set yet, I'm guessing, like completely.
No, not even on the Bowmaster. I've only got 2 pieces. I've got 1 to buy and I've got 1 hopefully to drop still.
Jesus Christ. Do people actually play the game like this?
What the fuck is that?
This is an unreal way to play the game.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then I'm supposed to be the guy about the numbers and who. Yeah, I would have to close this shit.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you have it.
Okay, looks good.
Massive. All right. does this check how much you've completed? This like obsession with like how much have I already done? How much more do I need? I don't know. For me, that just gives me like anxiety on like I'm still not done yet. Whereas I just like to have fun playing a video game. I don't know. I'm the weird one, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Making progress for me is fun, and I don't know how to make any more progress at this point.
Okay. Well,
Like I can keep making boss meals, but I don't know what like. Should I be starring up my items more? Probably.
Well, we could take a step back and be like, why are you making boss meals?
So I can get more meso. To
Okay.
either fund the main or make more boss meals. I'm not sure which one yet.
Okay.
Mostly, like every week so far, I've just been taking what I get in the week, putting into the next boss meal, and that's usually enough to get me up to CRA.
Mm-hmm.
With all the Legion and stuff, so.
And are you approaching on like your max crystals?
No.
Okay. Is it something that you want to aim for, or is that? Cause what I'm mainly getting at is you could do anything in this game, right? So
Yeah.
you're doing boss meals because you enjoy the bossing and you enjoy playing different characters, but you also have, you know, like a parallel thing that you still want to get a main character stronger and push it through the game as well, right?
Yes.
And but
I mean,
not
the main
sure
goal
if
for
it's the
that is to
Bowmaster.
kill like the higher level bosses and get more meso. So it's just the same thing, you know what I mean? I just want more meso weekly so I can push more
Yep.
characters or get my one character higher, whichever one it is, you know. And
Okay.
I don't know which is faster at this point. Is it faster to put 4 bill a week into a boss mule and then push it up to CRA, or is it faster to save that up for like 2 months and then star my items?
Okay. What would you say your weekly income is now?
I don't know. I get 1.3 bill probably from the Bowmaster, and then I'm getting maybe like 1.1, and then I'm getting like 6. Oh, you're looking at that? Yeah, that's nice, right?
What is that? What did you do here? What's going on?
What do you mean? What did I do? I
Why
just
is
did
that
it
better
every
than
week
most
till I got a
people's
good one.
books? Yeah, Jesus. Okay.
On my AB, it's got a 5% all stat and 68 dex.
Okay, yeah, those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Saves you a few billions in flames.
I got
Sorry,
some
I didn't
lucky
mean to interrupt
cups.
Mhm.
No, you're good. What was the question? I got lost with the cups.
Your weekly income.
Oh, weekly income, yeah. So maybe like 1.1 to 1.3 bill on the Bowmaster, and then I don't know, like 600 mil on all the other guys. I feel like it's about 4 bill a week. It might be a little more, a little less than that.
These are all the same crystal, right? These are all 80. These are 81 mil crystals, I think. 1, 2,
I got
3,
the
4,
list.
5, 400, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 800 probably ish. These are a little bit over. These are a little bit under. 88, and then the buck probably does quite a bit more.
What do you mean? Oh,
Well,
for bosses?
Yeah. If you do,
The buck
These guys.
cannot do anymore. He kind of. Oh, that's for the AB. I think it. Oh no,
Oh.
is that? Yeah, that is the buck.
oh yeah, because here it said Kaiser's boss solo, and then it.
Yeah,
there's a
yeah, yeah.
picture
So
below
it's
it.
the one beneath is the one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Is it?
I
the
had
one
it mixed
above?
up. My bad. Yeah, it's the one above.
Yeah. But so the buck doesn't do these bosses, or
The
does?
buck does do those bosses.
Okay.
I think the only I cannot do. What is it? Lotus after the change on the buck anymore.
Okay.
I
Like
just.
holding all the bursts, trying to get it all into P3. just
Yeah.
to get out with a clean burst that doesn't work out.
I mean.
Running away in P3 with the teleporter just to run away from the damage, maybe. You just not.
I don't even think I've made it to P3. I'm just not.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. The buck doesn't do a ton of damage, and
Gotcha.
yeah, I'm not very good at the buck.
Yeah, I'm no buck expert. I just enjoy. I think the more you know bosses, the better classes like Demon Avenger and Buck become, because then it purely becomes about like seeing the patterns and just responding, being able to respond quickly, and just positioning right on top of the boss and getting all that continuous damage for free, even if you're not attacking but just dodging, you're still doing a whole lot of damage. And I like that. And with Buck, it's just I recently had to do the hard will solo for liberation on the Buck, but
Okay.
it's just, yeah, like the repositioning where you can just do the regular dash, and if you like tap your arrow down, it like ducks and it like instantly stops where you're at in your range. You can just like reposition so well and so accurately where you want to stand exactly just behind the boss.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, I found that out. Like,
I knew it like the super jump thing you could do. I didn't know you could do like the stop. That's cool.
yeah, the super jump is very spooky in bosses, so you don't use that one. Just like the regular dash where you like zoom a little bit forward and just like tap your down arrow key, you can just stop like exactly in the right spot, and it has no cooldown, right? So you can very easily reposition, and then while you're doing that, you're, you know, Lord of the Deep is constantly hitting, but Buck probably, yeah, most likely gets quite a bit of damage from nodes and everything, and I'm expecting that, to hear that your AB and your Bowmaster are quite high on nodes, but I guess these mules probably not very noded out, right?
They're pretty noted out because like I've had these guys for a while, and I've just been putting all the nodes that my Bowmaster couldn't use in there because my Bowmaster's had max nodes for a while. He was just like stuck at 240 for like a long time before the 6 job update came out.
Okay.
So I think
like way overfunded to 40.
Yeah. And I think I just get too greedy with the Buck. That's the thing. Like I want to like stand and attack, and I shouldn't. Like let's see, the Buck has on his trinodes level 46, 48, 43, 45. So yeah, everything's above 40.
Okay. And how's Lord of the Deep looking?
Lord of the Deep's at 17 plus 5.
That's not bad.
So is that, yeah, just 12 base then, because it's 17 with the 5.
Yeah, there's definitely some gains there, but, you know, some EXP nodes here and there, and you can easily crank some levels.
Yeah. And he's got really low. I haven't done like any dailies on him. Actually, he's got decent levels. His one symbol's at level 6, but everything else is over 10. He's got one at 15.
Yeah. So you're making like, yeah, like 4 to 5 bill or something?
Yeah, probably something. And then when I get the bishop up to finally clear CRA, finally get around to doing normal.
Okay. Well, one thing that seems good for me to do is kind of like establish within your Bowmaster first, like doing dailies, probably slowly working way up to 265, kind of just establishing in there. Through dailies, through weeklies, and it being the highest level character, and, you know, on the side, probably unlocking that 6 job for your AB, and try to get these guys unlocked here on the bottom left. So I think you will get some nice juice out of that. And then within the Bowmaster, I think a lot of the funding that you could do at this point seems like you could do that with the resources from the boss mules a little bit as well when it comes to the equips. Okay. Like some of them can still get a little bit of love. What's your... Oh, you've never done an event with a fairy heart?
I did, but I've only done one, and I gave the fairy heart to one of my other characters. I forget which one.
Gotcha. You forgot which one? Okay. Well, you were
it's one of the boss mules, but I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know which one exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. Because there is some stuff here. What's the... how did you get to the 18-star arcanes on everything? Because you don't see that very often. How did you just tap them up 1 star and they just went, or did you transfer hammer anything, or?
No, nothing was transferred. Everything was tapped. I only had to use a couple spares, so it wasn't too bad. The black bean got up without any spares. I never got any more. It's the only one I've ever had.
Okay, but you're okay with taking that, like, that at least that lower level of risk then, if you don't have a backup, but you're still risking potentially blowing it up.
Yeah. Like I had a backup at the time that wasn't like too much lower in damage, so I was like, if I blow it up, I blow it up. It's whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I guess if you have a different item, I would consider that a backup as well, even if it's not the same item, because you have like a backup for the item slot, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just double checking, kind of seeing like where your head is at in terms of like risk and everything. So you have a 20-star hat. Like you were feeling frisky one event.
I don't even spend on events. I just spend it whenever I have like a bunch of money saved up.
Well, that's one thing, right? If you
Which is not the best.
No, because well, again, I don't want to bog people down with like efficiency, and you have to play it a certain way. But if you want to be able to tap whenever, then you need to have the income to be able to have that, or you need to have a general attitude on the game of like, I'm just not going to take it too seriously, you know. And I think that's totally fine.
Kind of how I've been doing it, is
yeah.
not taking it like super seriously, but I still want to make a little bit of progress, you know, however slow or whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. Because the further you will get, the more that I think that attitude is like admirable, but the harder is going to be to hold on to it, because the quicker you get to the point where you're going to feel forced to play more in a certain way. Otherwise, you're just going to see no gains whatsoever on average, or no progress anymore past a certain point. You're just going to hit a brick wall. And basically, once all your stuff hits like 18, 19 stars, trying to get past that is going to be a nightmare. So what people end up doing then mostly, which you haven't done too much, is then they start hardcore spending on potential and on flames, because then you don't have to risk blowing up your items, right? But then if you have really good potential flames and items, you actually lock in harder, and it's actually more inefficient than just holding onto your money and throwing them at, right? So you always get to the problem of like, are you just going to spend whatever you want to, or are you going to actually try to get more value from your money? Because in the end, it doesn't really matter, but it might be the difference between me saying now, if you play more like this on your main, then you can actually be good with these boss mules. You just build these boss mules a little bit out over time, or you know, if there's one that you don't like very much, you just leave it where it is, and you try to look for another replacement. When another character replaces it, you can drop the one that you don't like as much, right? Versus, no, you need to make like 12 more boss mules right now to get that income up, because otherwise you can't kind of like support the lifestyle that you want to play the game with, right? There's different like scenarios there, so there's going to be a little bit of movement probably necessary, a little bit of flexibility as well, and being like, okay, I want to upgrade something now. You know, maybe you buy like 50 cubes and you roll those on an item that has barely anything to lose, and then you'll leave it at that. For me, I think like cubing off event is usually a good thing to just like do off event, because even during cube sales, they're only twice a year, right? Like end of May and middle of May and end of November typically. And then even then it's only 25% off, so that's less than a 30% off, and less than a 5 to 15 save you in money when it comes to star forcing.
Okay.
So star forcing I usually only do on event, like never, like almost never off, except if I have the money. So if I have like a lot of money lying around, I find like a pitch drop, maybe I'll send it immediately. But other than that, I'm always holding. But cubing, you'll find me here and there just like slam, like a mil here or there, 2 bill here or there. Some maybe like a bill on some red cubes trying to finally hit the flame on something. But because I have the income, then I can just like scratch that itch and do a little bit of gambling whenever I feel like it. But those really, really big ones, once you get to a certain part of the game, I could do it with like CRA on a boss mule if I wanted to off event, right? It wouldn't really hurt me. But if you're going to do Arcanes, level 200s, right? Or like Eternals, level 250s, you got to do those off events. You're just paying dozens of billions more. And which means you're just cutting into weeks of your income, right? And then something that takes you months takes you years. And then you're just... It's hard on the mental to be like, oh, I'm still enjoying this game, even though I'm making zero progress, even making negative progress sometimes, you know, and blowing stuff up. Then it's like, it just becomes harder to keep enjoying the game. But it is good to have a line where you're like, I'm going to play it my way, and if it goes past this, or if it ever feels like I'm being pushed too much into, you know, if you're getting railroaded, then I'm just going to, you know, hands off, or, you know, do whatever the fuck I want. I think you need to keep that attitude. But there is the reality check of, what that will mean as a result. So if you're not grinding a terrible amount, but you do want to get that weekly income up, then scaling up on boss mules now is probably a good idea. I wouldn't spend too much money immediately on a bossing mule. I would just mainly look around and see which ones you enjoy bossing on. And there is definitely a connection, and that's kind of what you're running into with the Bowmaster, I think, between enjoying a character because you like the playstyle, or enjoying the character because it's strong. Because you can't really it's really hard to not enjoy a class that just nukes everything, and it's also really hard to enjoy a class that can't kill for shit. So
Yeah.
they are definitely very much so connected. That's why I think we should look at in the short term how we can get the Bowmaster kind of just like settled, so that by like 265 or something we can hit certain goals, and then see if we really match like the capacity of the Bowmaster without like going too crazy into min-maxing and doing like a million kind of calculators. So that if the AB, at 260 with like a less developed matrix and with lower gear kind of does the same or better for you, that it just feels like a better fit, that you can wholeheartedly feel like I'm gonna start putting stuff into the AB now. It's only 5 levels behind. It's not like we took the Bowmaster to level 280 first, right? Plus then you have a very strong boss mule in the Bowmaster, which will seem weird because it was your main up until then, but now it's just going to be, its main purpose is just going to be to provide funds for the AB, and the Bowmaster will be settled, so it doesn't need any extra investments at that point, and it's kind of done, and you can start cashing in on that guy.
Okay.
That's probably what I would advise, because even though you have a bunch of boss mules, it also sounds like you're also not 100% on keeping all of them, right?
I mean, I like them. They go through like the bosses that they do pretty quickly. I don't know like how far I'm gonna push them, or if I'm gonna push them up like much farther at this point, just because like I'm pretty comfortable with the amount of meso they're making at this point. Like it feels pretty decent to like go on and do them and get that much.
Yeah, some characters will just feel
they don't
like
take super long.
They could easily do more, and some characters feel like this will need a whole lot of money. I'm gonna just leave them right where they are. Yeah, I think it's good to have a few boss mules that just only do like 5 or 6 bosses, and that's good, and have a few that do like 12. Whatever is the balance that feels right for you.
Yeah.
For other people, the balance is more like between how much time do I spend doing boss moves versus how much time do I spend hardcore grinding on my main. Because once you find that character that they really like, then suddenly grinding more on the main also doesn't feel as tedious and doesn't feel as bad. And then it's easier to get some of the income. Of course, your income per hour goes down if you're grinding, always, right? Compared to a somewhat build boss mule. But the scalability on it is much better. And you already have a big legion, so you have a good income of your legion coins and everything, so you can definitely scale pretty well into grinding. But you haven't really found that character yet, or you never may, of course. But I think at that point, I think a really good number to aim for is try to get about 10 bill weekly income. And if you do that, 90% through grinding or 90% through bossing, there should always be a little bit of a balance of the two, I think. But yeah, people who want to be like, I want to do fucking Chaos Kalos, I want to do, like Extreme Saren, like solo soon, you just have to get those levels, you have to get those fragments, so you're gonna have to put in those hours grinding. And if that means you kind of disregard boss mules and their only boss mules are like from burning events that they give you a free 260, right, and you turn those into a boss mule, then that's fine, if you grind enough, you can make that money and more, right? Potentially you can make more. But like 10 bill a week is a really good number to know that if you save up most of that, not all of it, never of course, but like most of that whenever an event comes around, because of the spacing of the events, that you'll always have some chance to make some nice upgrades. The foundation for that is though whether like your drop and meso gear is ready on the character, and that is somewhat determined by how long are you going to play that character, right? There's different stages of drop and meso gear. There's just like drop and meso combo. There's a full drop set. There's a drop and meso hybrid set. There's like the min-max endgame drop and meso set. So what set is this guy at right now?
Like bare bones basic. He's got max meso. When I have max meso, I've got I think it's on there somewhere.
3, I think?
The stat page.
Oh, stat page here. Yeah, I was trying to look at the lines. I guess, did you keep a pennant open for spirit, or?
What, that's the EXP one?
Yeah.
No, I just don't have a second pendant, I think.
Yeah, I gave you an out, bro. That would have been a yes. Like, of course I do, because I'm super organized, and that was super intentional. No? Okay.
No, I got 2 damage pendants, and the 1 greed pendant is my only
Gotcha.
drop pendant.
Okay. Well, it's good. Drop rate on the Greed Pendant is fine. Any kind of drop set towards any low damage pieces that are functional towards drop set is great, because that's mostly coming into play when you're opening boxes anyway, and they don't fight back, so that's totally fine to have. And they don't have that much HP, so that's totally fine. Okay, no, that's decent set. I mean, I guess you could have got 1 more pendant, but you always want to look at, are my current items, are they legendary, and are they maybe going to get replaced soon? Then yeah, don't make an extra legendary for some function that is going to just, present itself soon anyway, right? Because at that point you're just spending money just to spend it, and that's never a really good idea in this game, because you're always going to need more of it. So
Yeah, definitely.
using that, yeah, like a Mechanator that could very well go into a drop in Mezzo. Temporary Dominator, yeah, that makes sense. And a little bit of crit rate helping you out as well. Not necessarily a flame on there, just 4% all, so that could be maybe a little bit improved.
Yeah, I haven't gotten
Six and
Dominator.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Did you, in the meantime, did you get anything on the belt? I'm guessing you were throwing spare cubes on there, right?
I haven't done any bosses this week. All my money went into another mule last week, so it's exactly the same as it is right there. I just have it on for like the set, because it was better than my pink bean belt that I was wearing.
Yeah. Did they complete the set? No, because you don't have the pendant yet, right? You have the ring.
Yeah.
And you have the. You don't have the earring, right? So
just the ring and the belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten any other drops, and I'm still saving up coins.
Yeah, so you could try to get a earring drop before you hit 700, so you can full switch over. Yeah, that's always a really nice boost. I mean, Absol stuff is all at 18 versus most people's stuff would be at 17, so you're getting a little bit of extra there, but then times 4, so that's great. The temp weapon is, of course, nice. The question is, can you get a perma weapon before that thing... oh no, it's not a temp weapon.
Doesn't expire.
It's just a fake... Oh, it's from before,
yeah.
Right. Did you... Oh, you have the temp weapon on the AB then?
It didn't even give me a temp weapon on the AB. Oh, no. The temp weapon is on the AB, but I have a Absolab that I have to replace it with when it goes away.
Mm-hmm. Okay, like a real Abso to complete the set and with actual potential. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I saw 15 and I immediately thought like temp, but I didn't read on because I need to remember that your account is already a bit older. More people who would be at this level with their main would of course be a newer account, but like your Legion obviously betrays a little bit that it's not like an account that's a few months old, but rather
it looks a little weird.
Well, yeah, that's it's everyone's situation is different, right? So it's good to keep that in mind. Well, what I was saying, like with your ring and with your belt and stuff, some people would go. There's always the option, or like, do you go legendary and then just hit 21, or do you try to just keep throwing like. What I can do now, like with my account, is for my weekly bosses, I just check how many cubes do I have in a week. And then, these are expiring at the end of the day. This is like my weekly income just on cubes. So I spend no money funding bossing mules, right? Once you get enough bossing mules up and rolling, they'll basically fund each other through like the flames and the cubes that you get from the bossing and from the nodes from events. And then all of your money can keep going to like a main character. But you have to want to get that main character up. It seems like right now you're maybe still kind of like finding for trying to find a class in a boss mule first that you might actually like more than what you're maining or something. Like maybe you're finding like a diamond in the rough, or is that a bad inference on my part?
No, I mean I like the Bowmaster. I was just wondering because, like I said, the damage on it just doesn't feel great. Like I like how survivable it is. I like that. I can just like ignore some mechanics if I feel like it, and it doesn't really do anything.
Okay.
But I don't know. I feel like the damage is a little lacking. Like my AB has half the combat power, and it kills the bosses the same speed, if not faster, than the Bowmaster does.
Yeah, it is a lot. You have a few things that aren't capitalizing super hard, like the fact that the AB doesn't have the Spear Golic set either, right?
No,
But like you
has
have a few
no
items here, like
Gaulish.
your ring and your belt combined have 6% dex. Ideally, you want them combined to have like 24 to 30, even if they're staying within unique, right? Kind of like the same potential as your USD God here, if possible, right? Like a 15%. So that alone is like 24% dex. That will definitely help. That we don't have an event planned right now, but like the next 5 to 15 event, I'm definitely trying to roll all those 16s up to 17s, right? So mentally, kind of keeping the money available for that. Finishing off Superior Golics will be big, of course. Yeah, it's just like the attack is really nice on the fake weapon, but the potential is just absolute shit, basically. Yeah, you get a little bit of crit damage with your vicious shot out of the critical line, and you basically have a better prime boss damage line, but not by that much. And that's it.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, it's a good place. It's a great placeholder, right, for a new character to get at that level. It's insane, but you quote unquote need to move on from it in a reasonable time. I think that's why making it temporary is maybe better for some people, so that they kind of feel that it's a good idea to, or like they feel a little bit of pressure to move on from it, so they don't just sit on that thing forever like it's the holy grail of damage, because it definitely is not. So,
should I upgrade? Because like I can't get an arcane. Should I like look for parties to try to get an arcane? Should I get an Abso and upgrade that?
well, since you were saying that you did kill normal, you said, right? That was solo? Lucid?
Yes.
And do you remember how long that took, roughly?
Pretty long, maybe like a 15 or 20 minute.
Mm-hmm. Because yeah, like you mentioned,
a lot of deaths in the first phase.
Yeah, yeah. Being solo in the first phase for a while is the main reason why you wouldn't do normal solo, because you're just like taking 6 or 7 deaths just to get out of that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I had to do it a couple times.
Yeah, I should be able to do a hard party. It should be fine if you can solo normal in 15 minutes, like, because you have 6-man, you have synergy, so you basically do like 1.5 extra damage if you're a 6-man, like on average. So you would do like a 9x the damage. I'm not sure exactly on like the multipliers between normal and hard and everything, but of course the main obstacle is B3. But these days, if everyone's over 260, everyone's got their 6 job unlocked. If you have at least 3 or 4 of those left over and everyone just slams those into hard lucid P3, it's kind of a joke now compared to what it was at one day. But I think you can definitely, on this character, and again, there's some stuff that we can still improve on, right? Like little bits here and there to optimize your damage, that you could definitely go into like hard lucid parties, just to get an attempt of a box at least once a week, and start working on those droplets, that in case you don't get the drop, that you can buy yourself a weapon. Because weapon is, if you're buying the droplets, it's over 10 bill, right? Which sounds insane. But if you fund your bossing mules with the internal value that you're getting from the boss mules, and kind of slow that down maybe a little bit, and then save that money for 3 weeks, then you have an arcane weapon that you can buy. That's faster than you can get the droplets for the arcane weapon, right? So that's not even the bottleneck for you. Your income is already at that level. Your income in the boss droplets is right now is the problem, right? Or the problem is what would be the bottleneck. So I think you could do that. Whether you could do
which droplets do I need? I've got a couple. I've got like 18 of the Stone Origin. I've only got 2 of the Arcane River.
Yeah, so there's technically like 4 droplets, 2 of the ones that drop in the area, so that you can buy from the NPC, right? 1 for each area, 1 for Will area, and then 1 for all the other areas, basically. And then there's the ones from the bosses, yeah. So very similar to Absolab. You have to like combine them together to make a coin, and then with the coin you buy the items. So
how many of the like the drop ones do you need?
So
like
1 from the boss combines with 9 from the area ones to create 1 coin. So the butterfly droplet stones, that's what I'm talking about. That's the one that dropped from Lucid. So you would need, for a weapon, you need 24 of these to create 24 coins, and then 24 times 9 being 200 and was 214.
Oh, that's so
216?
many.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So it's like almost 11 bill if you were to buy them from the shop straight up.
Okay.
Which sounds insane, but getting a real arcane weapon, and then you still have to pay for the potential, for the tier up, for the potential, for the flames, for getting it to 17 star. But it is an incredibly good item, right? It's great.
Yeah.
You're gonna have more weapon attack than this one once you get it to 17. You're gonna have way more attack with attack potential on it. It's definitely a worthwhile investment, and but there's also a chance. It's always a question, like a lot of people ask, like, do you need to buy the arcane weapon, or can I just wait until I get a box? The answer is always the same. It's like, if you are pushing forward very quickly, aggressively through the game, and you need more damage to be able to kill more bosses, and you need more damage to be able to kill the monsters in your area, then you should probably go for the weapon. Pretty much always. It's always a good investment. It's strong. If you don't need those, then you can always hold and just slow it down a little bit and see if you get the armor boxes, if you get weapon boxes first. But for some people will get it quickly, some people won't get it at all, and then as soon as you buy it, then you'll start getting it, of course. But then you just have backups for start forcing it past 17, if you will, eventually. Because the weird thing, it will be like, people take a long time to get their full arcane set, which, feels bad, but it's normal because it's a really strong set. And then in that time that you're waiting, you're upgrading all your other stuff, so that by the time you get your arcanes and you just get them to 17, the very next upgrade is usually arcanes to 19, which feels really weird, but that's usually about where the next step is at.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess ideally, this would be too far, but yeah, it's 17 mil. I don't have any characters that are in between. There's the last 5, 10, 15. I kind of like pushed all the characters like over that edge from having 17 and 19 star stuff to having mostly like only arcanes at 17, but everything else like 20 and 21 star stuff, which is further than I want you to take this character, You probably want to get the CR8 to 21, but then probably everything else just to 17. Things that are 18 already, you keep them there, of course. But like Star Force wise, that's probably just the main goal, is just to get the items within the current tiers that they are, get like a decent potential. So don't try to go for tier ups. Just always use like the cheapest cubes you can to roll on there, preferably the free ones you get from the bossing, just to get some potential on it. Then move on to another item. If all the items are done, then you can raise your standard and then just go back to the previous item. Right, so right now your ring and your belt have nothing on it, so I would just, or your ring has 6, your belt has nothing, so I would just keep the belt until it goes over 6. If it does, then go to the ring. If it goes over whatever the belt has, then you switch back again. Then every time you lose potential on something, it's still like a net gain towards the finish line, basically, right?
Yeah.
Always take those lower risk ones with like higher guarantee of results before you go to the higher ones. And if they're both like, if the cape is like at, the belt is like at 12 because it has a little bit more junk lines, and the ring is at 15, then that would be perfect, and I would start like cubing something else, essentially.
Okay. Would you recommend cubing any of my drop gear to try to get like 2-line drop or like drop meso on them? Because right now they're all just 1-lines.
Yeah, I wouldn't at this point, because you don't know. We're trying to figure out first, like, is the AB going to maybe replace the BM, as in how far you want to go? And even though it's not super expensive, going for double lines at the cheapest is like 2.5 bill per item.
Okay.
And that's like more, so that would be more than half of what you make in a week, or like roughly half of what you make in a week. Versus, I'd rather have you save that money for a Star Force event and see if you bring up your AB a little bit, if you bring up the BM a little bit, and you get some backups, maybe there's like a really good opportunity to, it's like, okay, I like the AB more, and then you could immediately, and in 2 weeks there's an event, then you can use that kind of as like a deadline, maybe not the very next event, but maybe the one after that, depending on how fast you go, right? Because there's no announcement right now, but it could be right in the beginning of the next update, who knows? And then you can use that as kind of a deadline to make that decision. And again, it doesn't have to be a permanent decision, because even if you save up something like 25 bill or something, which might be the most money you've ever had in one moment in your account, in general
it might be,
yeah, like 25 bill is always 25 bill, but it doesn't have the same value to you as a player, right? Like if you give me 25 bill, I could do the same thing with that as you, roughly, right? If you spend it in a similar way. But to me, 25 bill is not worth that much because I have 200 in my storage. So but that's only because I've built out that foundation of more income. So it'll always feel weird. Like I'll have items that are 21 stars and 24% potential, and I'll just forego them because I made a 22, so I'll just upgrade that one instead. That feels really weird when you had a 17, and then you had a 19, and then you had a 20, and then you had a 21, and it's been with you for like years, and then you just let it go. But sometimes you kind of have to let these things go because it just doesn't make sense to hold on to those things, you know?
That makes sense.
So I would definitely use the internal cubes and focus on that. I wouldn't work on a drop or mezzo on this guy. Maybe one extra drop rate pendant, but I think what will most likely happen, you're going to start working towards that Gollux pendant. That's going to push your Dominator out, and then the Dominator you could just reroll for drop rate. So that'll probably be the best thing to do for that. This is all the gear. This is all the same gear that you have pictures of, right?
Yes, those are all my drop things, and also just like my extra Kana rings.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, because you are doing Princess No in the list. That's nice. You don't see too many people do that. Use the soul summon, or no? Do you actually do the fight?
What do you mean? I don't even know what
he doesn't know about the soul summon, guys. So if you make your
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, if you make a weapon into a soul. Into soul weapon, right? Some soul skills or summons. A lot of S's there. And the summons will just one-shot the monsters in the second phase, where you always have one wave that's like resistant to you.
Oh, the ones, yes. Like oh my god, it takes so long.
Yeah, exactly. So
does it actually do that?
Yeah, it just one taps them. Yeah. So if you get
crazy.
If you get the right soul, I have all magnificent souls, so it's a bad person to ask. But I believe, guys, is it normal pink bean, normal Hilla maybe as well? Normal normal. Is it normal Vellum? Let me double check, make sure I give you right advice here for the easy ones. But the so some summons, even the normal one is a summon. Some boss souls. Skills are summons, there you go. And you just need 250 points, so you just kill some monsters, right? Get to 250 points, get in there, and then just summon it one time in when you're in the second phase, and it'll just kill all the waves, yeah.
Wow.
Pink Bean and Hilla, right? Yeah, so normal Pink Bean, normal Hilla. If you just get those are pretty easy to get. Throw those in a soul weapon. You could do that on all your boss mules, right? And get through those waves a whole lot faster, save yourself some time every week.
That's the reason I haven't been doing it on some of the mules. I just because I'm like it takes so long. I mean, they're like an extra 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's highly relatable. we all share that pain. Yeah. So this is one of those things where
it's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, they've changed that boss a whole bunch of times, and every single time it gets kind of better, but there's always one major thing that keeps slapping you or like kicking you in the shins, where it's like, but it could be even better if this one thing wasn't here. And then for this generation, it's the one wave in P2 that just messes with you, yeah. But even if they got rid of that, there would be the thing still that Princess No, as soon as you summon her, always teleports to the top, and then when you kill her, you have to loot all the drops from all the platforms. So, there's always something to complain about, But, at least now you can bind her, so that's pretty cool. You can instantly bind her and then kill her on the bottom platform if you're fast enough.
And the guy with the eels, and you just have to wait like a minute or 30 seconds till he comes
exactly.
Off his
like every
platform.
stage is something that could be less annoying as fuck, but we deal with what we can. So yeah, a little bit of so weapon, we have somewhat of plan, right? We're going hard lucid. Pennant, we have like a plan. The other pennant, honestly, the other dominator is non-ideal as it is. You could definitely keep this one. If you do get a dominator, your choices are just making it 17 star and replacing it, or making it 16 and going into Sweetwater and possibly like trying for transposing and for the late game. But since you're not sure yet what you're going to do with this character, if you want to take the middle ground, I would get it to 16 and potential and give it some potential and maybe give it a flame. And then you could always, if you ever come back later, you can always still go either way depending on where you want to go with it. If you do get a Dominator, right?
What other Sweetwater things can you transpose? Can you do anything with the weapon? Because I was using a Sweetwater weapon for like the longest time before I got this arcane weapon.
You can transpose
And then
a lot,
I got
but
rid of it.
yeah, you can transpose basically into everything that's Sweetwater, but not all of them make sense. So
Okay.
essentially what people use transposing for is for the Fafnir Katara into Sweetwater Katara, because that's just stays endgame, and because you can get so many backups, you can actually realistically in endgame go for 23. So that's a thing that people do. If you get a Papulatus mark, you could transpose that into the Sweetwater Monocle. That's not as crazy anymore now because, Black Bee marks more available. Extra set bonus is a little bit extra. Flame advantage is pretty good. So it's barely better. It's a whole lot of effort. But yeah, Papulatus mark is also rare, so a lot of people don't even get to attempt it. But that one's possible. You could transpose Twilight Mark into a Sweetwater tattoo if you wanted to, but again, that doesn't make much sense because you lose flame advantage and you lose your set bonus with the ring, which pretty much everyone immediately gets. So that's like a completely unproductive one. So most of what people use it for is, or the other thing that you mainly could use it for is the pendant. That's because Dominator pendants are typically pretty rare, so you get one, transpose it in Sweetwater pendant, and then you can get easily backups through Sweetwater and then get a higher Star Force pendant on the second slot. Plus, you don't need to spend any other Dominators. Those can be kept to try to make fodder for higher Star Force Superior pendant. And then if you get a high Star Force Daybreak pendant, you can replace the Sweetwater, and then the Sweetwater can become drop or Meso pendant, essentially.
Okay.
Because the alternative is you just bring up a Dominator, but then, if the first one goes, you're great, you're golden, you save a whole lot of time, you don't have to do any Sweetwater stuff. But if you're not, which will happen to a bunch of people, you need to keep waiting for Dominator backups. And then by the time you finally get a good Dominator, then you need to wait again for a good Daybreak to then replace the Dominator again, and then transfer hammer that Dominator again into the Superior to get a higher Star Force Superior. So you end up in the same point, but the way you get there is quite different. So it can also make sense that you go one way on one character, another way on another character, right? So you don't have Sweetwater running on like 6 characters at once, but you don't also have all your characters luck riding on whether you hit Dominators. So if you see pretty early on that your character hits quite a lot of Dominators, it's very fine to skip Sweetwater. And if you don't see any, then definitely consider it. And if your account is getting quite a lot older and you have a lot more items that can, materials that you can craft with, you could also brute force and just craft Dominators. That's always a backup plan. So for that you need Primal Essences, and you need... I always forget the name of this shit. Is it something Destruction something? Do I have the... I might have a recipe here. Oh, I have 45 recipes. I'm going to use one. He who saves has something. Let's see. Confusion Fragments. That's usually a piece of time you can farm for a little bit if you want to. If you have some drop rate, you just go to Temple of Time. You can get those decently. But 20 Confusion Fragments, that's just a lot of Madman Ranmaru and a lot of normal Arcarium.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 to 5. The 5 used to be a very bigger bottleneck for primals, but because they added primals as drops to higher level bosses, that income has actually skyrocketed compared to before. And Confusion Fragments has only been increased in this last patch because they realized that they went, you could get way less of it. So they increased the drop rate from Arc to make sure that it would kind of bring back the balance between the two. That's kind of where those are at. But yeah, you could definitely just Sweetwater for like a regular tattoo, right? Not having to transpose or anything, but just a Sweetwater tattoo because it's transferable up to 20, Star Forceable, sorry, up to like 25, or reasonably probably for most people up to 19 or 21. That also means that if you do get to that point, that once you start getting into Twilight marks, you can also get a little bit more risky off the bat with the Twilight mark. And you can see like, if it doesn't go Star Force wise, then you don't have to worry about the flame and the potential because you're probably not going to be using it. You're probably not going to be switching into it anyway from the tattoo, right? You can always just keep the tattoo.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of Sweetwater 2. Even just the 17 one is already way better than a Condensed Power Crystal, just because it can Star Force, 7 extra stars guaranteed. It's just so much stronger. Unless you have some kind of god level Condensed Power Crystal. But the main thing is that by the time you get those pieces, you're also going to be phasing out of way more pieces of the boss accessory set, so that set bonus is basically going to disappear. So that makes the other pieces way more palatable, right? Like your Superior Golic set will complete, so you're going to be at 3 to 5 pieces of the boss accessory set at the most. So that set bonus is pretty much gone at that point.
Yeah, it's not getting much.
No, exactly. I guess that's a general equip progression. Yeah, I mean, like Slime Ring will hopefully start coming in, right? Replace one of these.
Yeah, I'll have to look up a video on how to do slime eventually.
Are these rings? Yeah, we could do a quick breakdown. I mean, the main thing is that it's the test is on a 3-minute cooldown, so it's not ideal for a Bowmaster because you're on a 2-minute burst. Which means you're likely gonna have to do it in a party, because like brute forcing that solo is really annoying. You're gonna have to do, because you could do burst and you could technically do a second burst right before the end, but then you'll lose some of the timer on the burst in a test, and that means that when he comes back, if you do the test correctly, he'll be groggy for a little bit, which means then he takes bonus damage. And if then your burst is down for that time that he takes bonus damage, then it wasn't worth to use your burst before if you lose a lot of time. So basically you have to keep your burst
you gotta, like,
off
hold it for a minute.
for 3 minutes every time. Yeah. Or what you could technically also do is burst on 2 minute, burst on 2 minute, and then hold the test by basically bouncing the slimes back and forth over and over and over until your burst comes back up. Then finish the test and then push through, which could prove to be technically slightly faster, but that would be a different approach, right? So basically the test, right, to make sure you can do the test properly, you first need to block the portals. So the portals are on on 4 points, right? 4 portals. So you press the NPC chat once it's like lit up, and then basically one of those slime duders will pop up and just like kick the rock. So if you press the up arrow, it'll summon on top and basically hit it from the top and therefore kick it diagonally down.
Yeah.
If you press the down arrow, it'll kick it from below and kick it diagonally up. So it'll just go in a diagonal line pretty much from the start, and then kind of turn into an arc on the way down. So you just have to kind of figure out, like, if I hit it from this angle, up or down, like, where is it gonna land? The easiest is to I'm gonna go into the boss fight. The easiest is to, once you figure out on the middle platform that's like complete, just below the interrupted platform, on that platform, you can if they're close to the sides, you can just kick them like straight up and they'll go right into the platform on the sides. Everyone kind of has their own approach to it, but I like usually fighting only in the middle 2 platforms, because then I could just go up and go down and I always have plenty of time to respond. Plus the interrupted platforms are really cool because there's like the attack, right, where he does like the pushback and all that, like the crazy attacks. But those can't reach you if you're just on the other side of the platform. So if you just stand here, like he can hit you with that laser, but you just heal that up, and you just attack from here, and like nothing else really happens.
Okay.
Like once you're standing here, he can't really do anything to you. So you could just stand within this range and keep hitting him. So this one here, for example, if I can get to it, I'm getting seduced. I'll do NPC chat and down arrow, and little dude will come up and hit it, bam, and then it hits it right into that portal. And then you see that you've got 1 blocked here. So you want to get 3 of them blocked. Blocks off entirely a portal. That will mean that... oh, nice down jump. That'll mean that you won't get a laser shooting out of that portal anymore. So you don't have to be like super accurate, right? Like as long as it hits like somewhat this hitbox, it's good. If I hit this one down, I'm pretty sure it's going to stop short of the platform. So usually I wouldn't do that one. Yeah. But then now it's right in front of it, so if I shoot one of these 2 and I shoot them up, it'll block that portal as well. So at the beginning you'll have to really like focus on that, make sure you're doing it right. After you've done it like 3, 4, 5 times, you'll be able to do it much faster, and you'll be able to weave it in more organically with fighting the boss as well, and you won't even lose any damage. As long as you got 1 portal closed, you're for the mechanics and for doing the tests, you're good. You don't need more than that. You can do more. That just basically means that you probably have to do less during the test, but you have to wait for the test anyway. So you might as well, you know, get more time to actually do damage during the boss fight.
See, the test is the thing I didn't know. Like, I could get to the test, I could block off like a door or two, and then I just didn't know what I was doing. Like, you put down like crystals or something like that?
Yeah. So
and then you like redirect the slimes?
Yeah, so technically the color of the slimes matters. So if there's a golden wave, it has to go through one of the portals that you didn't block off. So any portal but the blue one would be good. And if it's a green slime, which is the most common one, then it has to go through one of the portals you cordoned off. So it has to be blue. So as soon as the test starts, we should be around 28 seconds here, I believe. 28, 29 seconds on 27. Then what happens is... Oh, is it 18? Oh, wow, I'm messing up right now. Live on camera. Yeah, it's 18, whatever. What happens is now it's pans down, so now it's going to immediately look. Okay, bottom left. That's where I want it, right?
Okay.
So if you're insecure, you need extra time. It always spawns here and comes down the right side. You can put a rock here, and it'll just bounce back twice before it comes down. So that gives you a little bit more time to set it up. And you can even put an extra one here if you want to. That way, it'll bounce even more there. So I want to go to the bottom left. All right, I'm going to make it bounce. I'm going to make it go here. I'm going to make it go here. So you kind of want to put it far enough so it doesn't land on top of the rock. So I have to guide it through the middle. So I'm going to put it there and there. Now some of these might be extra. It always, when it lands, it always goes in the direction of the longest distance on the platform. But sometimes it's hard to eyeball it, so it's just safer to put extra ones on there, right? To make sure that it doesn't accidentally go the wrong direction. And now you can see that it's groggy. So this means that I completed the test. So don't bind it at this point. Don't origin any of that. Even though it takes bonus damage and you might be tempted to origin it, because when you origin it, you take it out of the groggy state and it goes into the regular bind state, and then you lose the bonus damage of the groggy state. So it's not what you want. So now I origin it after, and I do my extra damage because it's still bound because of that, right? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, now it's out of the bind. Now I use my regular bind. So in total, you get a whole bunch of time now where the boss is just standing there basically doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And then once it starts moving around again, you start, blocking off a portal again. And it's again as long as you have one. Yeah, so it's not too bad. The main thing is for if you're on 2 minute, is that you are, so where I showed like the bouncing, you could also just stay on a platform and just keep permanently bouncing it for like an extra 45 seconds or so, right? To get your 2 minute burst back if you want to burst twice. But you could try that, see if that's faster, or if it's faster to just only burst every 3 minutes. Well, even though you have a 2 minute burst going on essentially.
Yeah.
So this one I could probably hit both ways. I don't think it matters whether I hit this left or right. It'll probably still just go right in. You can just see it flying, boom, and just hitting right in there. So there's quite a lot of potential spots where you can hit from. And the bouncing on a test, it's easier if you were 2 people, right? Because then you can just divide the the responsibilities a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically slime. It was made a lot easier. His damage reduction and his healing were taken down a lot. So, but he has reduced damage to him, and he doesn't have bonus damage because of like arcane or sacred or anything, right? So you have to kind of brute force his damage, but with your healing, you should be fine, I think.
Yeah.
And then once you find that normal becomes very, very fast, then you can start looking for a chaos party. Try to get that ring in there. Okay, is there any equip that we, I guess, didn't go over yet? I guess you don't have a heart yet, but you just have to keep an eye out for a fairy heart, right?
And put it on one of the boss mules that I'm gonna play, because it's not on the AB. I don't know who it might be on the buck. I don't know.
Not on the BM. You wouldn't put a heart on there.
Possibly.
You got the Lydium, right? I mean, the fairy heart is, I mean, it's basically like a free 21.
Oh, did they put it on the Kaiser?
Oh, your Kaiser.
I might have put it on the Kaiser.
Good pick. Good pick. Fairies and dragons, they go together.
Yeah.
Yeah, the secondaries at this point probably fine. There's a lot of other stuff to work on. Let's see if there's any crazy stat things here. Do you still need the arcane power? How much are you at? 1060. Yeah, okay. So for max bonus damage, if you want to start doing will, you want to get to 1140. So until you get to that point, I would still keep the arcane power. But once you go over that, and with your extra points, if you do level, I'd probably start putting them into critical rate because of your vicious shot skill, right?
Okay.
You're familiar with vicious shot? How it works?
Yeah, you get extra damage, crit damage every like percent over your critical rate cap.
Well, your total crit.
Oh, I have an overlapping. Oh no, I have an overlapping. Oh, that's so embarrassing.
You have an overlapping. Yeah, exposed, bro.
That's so embarrassing. Oh,
you get exposed for actually leveling up your character. Yeah.
Oh no.
And not instantly moving. No, yeah. So it gives you a percentage of your crit rate as critical damage, and it allows you to go over cap during that time. So if you go up to like, I don't know, 200% crit rate, you get 100% crit damage during your burst. So, but the percentage conversion is linked to the level of vicious shot. So I noticed that your vicious shot isn't maxed yet, so that would be generally that's pretty high priority for a Bowmaster because it just improves your entire burst for all the other skills as well, right?
Okay.
So maybe some EXP notes, whatever. God's Blessing is also pretty good because it lasts a whole minute. So since you have a pretty drawn-out burst as a Bowmaster, it is also pretty nice because again that improves your DPM a bit more, so that you're not completely just like hitting with a wet pool noodle if your burst is off, right?
Okay.
And it's just a minor thing, but like for like decent hyper body doesn't actually do fuck all for you because your damage and bosses, and once you have enough arcane power and sacred power and all that, all your damage is based on percentage HP. So if you give yourself more HP, you're just gonna take higher numbers of damage, so it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, but it looks cool. I've got like 100,000 health on my Bowmaster.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can look a bit cooler. Yeah, but you can keep it in if you want to, but I would never put it in a leveled slot.
And it gives me all stat, dude. Come on.
Yeah, but how much all stat? Yeah, okay. So what if you were to switch? What if you were to switch your rope lift and your hyper body right now?
I don't know what would happen. Let me switch them. Oh shit! It gives me 6 all stat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And what if you were to put your blink and switch it with your decent combat orders?
Man. Gives me 5 more attack.
Yeah, exactly.
But I lose 1 status resistance. What am I gonna do without that?
Replace with the Decent One's Blessing, because that it doesn't give you anything for leveling up.
Oh, okay.
If you really want to, right? But that's just, yeah, that's only for like the bottom rows, but that's just like a general reminder. I think we had the exact same thing at the last progression session where someone also had this setup, and then but then the blink and the rope lift just outside, it's like it's just free 5 all stat and 5 weapon attack. Again, it doesn't break the bank, of course, but it is just free damage that just by reassigning things just slightly, just for free extra. Your Legion artifact looks good in terms of the numbers, how you're building them up. That seemed to make sense. Although the positioning is a bit weird. You have like 554, 53, but that doesn't matter at all. So it's whatever. It's kind of like if people have the leveled up slots in the V matrix like on the bottom and not on the top or something. But I guess the stats, you don't have the boss damage max.
Yeah, the boss damage is the lowest one so far.
There's just so much good stuff you want in the beginning, right?
Yeah, I mean, I probably should have switched the boss damage and the crit damage. But I don't know, the crit damage is fine for like farming and stuff like that.
Yeah, boss damage is really only when you're bossing, but yeah. Eventually you'll max these out. These are just like cooldown skip and everything. But this is more artifact bonus is gonna make it a little bit trickier if you are going to have multiple high level characters that you want to build like one harmonious set for. But you'll have plenty of points at that time to be able to make sure that your setups aren't just restricted to min-maxing for one character, right? And then every other character is kind of like getting the leftovers. So for now it's fine. I wouldn't min-max on it really, or change too much your direction on this, unless you really want to start playing one specific character and only that one, and everything else is just going to be a boss meal, for example. For archers, crit rate is greater than damage equals boss, greater than all stat, greater than ID, greater than crit damage, greater than attack, greater than final attack. Yeah, there's no attack on final attack yet, so I don't think he's doing anything improper. Yeah, the boss damage is the one that I would probably have a bit higher, but the mess window drop at this stage of the game I think makes more sense for the just generally bringing up the count rather than trying to min-max on the damage stats specifically of the Legion artifact at this point. I'll put the mezzo window drop in. The XP is maybe because there's so many sources of EXP, but there's also a lot of sources of drop, but they're harder to get early on. I don't know. I think this is fine. I think this is fine setup for early on. You want to have like a broad spectrum. This is like broad spectrum antibiotics, basically. Like you want to do like a little bit of everything that hits every character, you know? So that no characters are completely offside. Member bonuses. Got the crit rate, the crit damage. Boss duration, skill cooldown. Yeah. Yeah, simple dailies is you never really had the crazy desire to max those out, right? Over the years.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't doing a ton of dailies before. I was more of a grinder before they did like the daily change, and then I started doing more dailies. But I've been focusing more on like the mules. I've been slacking off on the main.
Yeah, that could be a thing. I don't know where my guy's at here, but like this, it's like it's also free stat, right? Yeah, mine isn't too crazy ahead of you. It's like 16, 16, and then a bunch of 15s, so it's only like 2 levels on average. Yeah, it's 10.4k stat. It's another 1k stat for free, but this is already a little bit further than I would take boss meals, but for a main I would always go a little bit harder. But again, if you're not super committed to the character for super long term, I definitely always do the weeklies, right? You're doing those? Yeah. Those are like way better value per time. If you're gonna be around an area, you might as well have the daily on, but going out of your way doing everything. It is one of those things where it's a very small thing, but if you do it every single day and then you add up how much time it is over the period of weeks or months, it does add up to quite a bit of time. So it's a conscious decision whether you want to commit to that or not. You can maybe just like finish out the levels of the ones that are already underway or something, right? And kind of just get that extra 500 and see where you end up there. But yeah, getting around level 15 to 16 is probably a good point. Past that, it starts getting pretty slow. So if you're not sure if you're going to push further, that's fine. Sacred Symbol is already level 5. That's nice. Yeah, I aim for, I think, -5 as well. Yep. Pretty much the same. 22%. I think you were ahead just a little bit there. Yeah, I aimed for level 8, but then I unlocked like 6 level 260s within 2 weeks, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure about getting all of these to 8. Maybe I'll just do one at a time, or whenever I feel like it, because just scaling everything up like amount of times always makes it infinitely less fun. So if you have just one character that you're doing this daily on, it's fine. Like a lot of people do level 5 to 6. 7 or 8 is already kind of pushing it. So yeah, that's kind of up to you. I'm not going to say that you need to do more there. Oh yeah, so we see in combat power that the AB is actually quite close to the Bowmaster. Wait, you were saying with half the... Oh, sorry. This is the Legion rate power, of course. It's not the combat power. You saying
the combat power,
half the combat power? Well, but the rate power is so close. Yeah.
Yeah, with full all like Legion and stuff on him, he's at about 8 million combat power.
Wow. Okay. So with 8, you're doing like easy lucid and easy will, without your 6 job anything.
No, I'm doing everything beneath easy.
Oh, so one step lower. Okay. Yeah, but it's doing those faster. Okay. Yeah, I guess maybe the arcane power probably isn't there to be able to do will properly, right? Because even on the lower difficulties, you do quite a bit.
Let's see, he's got 1,000, so I mean, you could probably do it. I don't think I've tried on him. Let me check. Yeah, I just haven't tried him yet. I might have tried easy lucid once, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna get through this.
No, I got you. In the bucket,
Because like outside of burst, I have no way to deal with the like the spawns. So they just like they build up, and then like the one-shot thing comes out, and I just die.
Other than the burst, you can deal with the spawns. Wait, what are you talking about?
Like the little statue dudes that come out outside of burst, I just
golems?
can't. Yeah, they just build up too much, and I can't get past them.
On the
And then
Bowmaster,
when the
you mean?
dragon spawns, I just die.
On the Bowmaster or in the AB?
On the AB, I couldn't do easy. I was dying.
Yeah, you have to.
Does 8? Can I do like a hover on AB? Is there like a little fly thing?
Yeah, so everyone has a hover now, which is your blink.
Is it just with blank? Oh, I hate doing
Yeah, you
that.
gotta up jump at the right time, and then blink, and then go up in your blink, and then by the time you fall, you should be able to. The dragon should already be gone. You could save your. You have a direct iframe as well, right?
Oh yeah, I do have the. That's a good point.
And you have the damage reduction thing. Doesn't that? Oh yeah, someone's saying
the spin.
Spinny. Yeah, the spin keeps you in the air as well. You can also use the tornado. Yeah. And
The
then you
spin keeps you in the air. What?
Yeah, some people do that, the up jump and then the spin. Yeah, the spin keeps. Yeah, you would think you would just fall like a brick, but you actually just stay in the exact place where you use the spin. And some people try to use that on top of Lucid to do damage while the dragon's going. But then, of course, if she fires sickles at you while you're up there, that could still get a little bit spooky. But if you hold it down for a while, then yeah, you should be able to just keep floating in the air. Yeah.
I'll
for
have
sure,
to
because after a
try
while,
those bosses this week.
after a while, the main thing that's going to kill you is probably the butterflies, because you'll just want to stay in the pocket in the middle of the fight the whole time. And then you will actually like fill up the map with butterflies, and they'll all start attacking you. And then you die. You get to the side, and then you have to fight through all the golems again to get back to the middle because they're like piled up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Yeah, no, seeing people like rush to the side when the people who are like more in the know all just like up jump and float up in the air, and then you also fall back like right back onto Lucid, so you can immediately keep attacking. You don't have to fight through the golems.
Yeah.
It is more reliable, even though it seems a bit spooky. The only bad thing that can happen is a golem could land during the dragon breath right underneath you, which if you're not high enough will hit you. So if you do see a golem land and you're blinking, then you can move a bit to the side, or if you're floating with your own skill, then you can only fall straight down. So then you have to blink again when you get out of that skill, and then go a little bit to the side. But I don't know if that'll be fast enough. But, you know, whichever one is up that you can use, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any... Oh, your inner ability has just drop rate, right? Have you thought of working on the second one there?
I didn't even know there was a second one for new things every day.
There's a third one too.
Oh shit! Well,
if you look under the inner ability, you see
there we go.
You see 1, 2, 3, right? You see that? So
oh
they're
yeah.
the same as the hyper stats, where you can make different presets. Have you looked into character presets at all?
No.
I guess it's not as relevant for you. So if you you're not playing as hardcore, but if you escape left, double up, then you have your character presets. Do you see that?
Yes.
So here you can. So if you also open up your keyboard shortcuts, you see one of those red buttons is your swap preset button.
Yeah.
So if you have that one somewhere and you press and hold that button down, you will get the presets that you make here. So if you go all the way to the right to the preset names, to the options, you can name whatever your preset is going to be, and they're going to show up when you hold down that that preset key. So, I mean, for most people in the beginning, you probably just have one for bossing and one for mobbing, and that's pretty much it. But it'll allow you, when you have a preset for your equips, for your hyperstats, for your inner ability, for your legion, and for your link skills, to just assign them.
So it just automatically switches?
Switches all of it at once.
That's so nice. Oh
yeah.
My god.
So once you go a little bit further, you also want to make them for the boxes specifically, so that you just completely switch into... Because ideally, your mobbing is going to be mobbing gear, right? And your bossing is going to be bossing gear. But so your bossing is going to have bossing link skills, and your mobbing is going to have mobbing link skills. But then if you switch to the drop rate, which would be in your mobbing setup, then every time it'll switch your link skills as well. So you'll be switching with every boss, and that's going to cost you money.
Okay.
So it's a good idea to make a box setup, which gives you the mobbing setup in the equipment, but it gives you the link skills from the bossing setup. That's
for the boss, yeah. So it doesn't.
Yeah, your links doesn't switch,
Yeah.
so you don't have to pay extra for it. KMS has added a feature where you can also do no preset, so it just leaves it open. Just it leaves whatever you have, and then the cost element is also.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so what I have is mobbing, and then solo bossing, solo box, and then party boss, party box, and party has different link skills for me because it has like a setup with more survivability for the harder boss fights, and then the solo one has more pure straight up damage basically. That's generally where mine is at. So
do my link skills look fine for like bossing and stuff?
I could check. I didn't see
again. That's the thing
anything
that
weird.
I haven't looked up. I just sort of like put the ones in that look like they give the most damage.
These are mobbing links.
That's yes. I think
Data
above
links.
would be the bossing one. But
There's probably a few I would switch around a little bit here. Let's see. And the
I don't have Ilium yet.
You don't have Ilium yet. Okay. We have Lumia 2. Yeah, so for bossing, ones that I see here that typically have some lower value is Rin's Blessing, because you know it doesn't work on percentage HP damage, right? Only on flat damage, which again no bosses do. So that's literally just a 10% IED.
Okay.
And then Bravado is also basically 10% IED because the bonus damage is only on the very first hit, because that's the only time the boss is on full HP, and then after that effect is just gone. So that's essentially also just a 10% IED. And definitely already looking at your IED, it's already on the high end. So these two can probably be pretty easily replaced.
Just replaced with damage? Okay.
Yeah. Link skills for some reason is a little bit of a blind spot of mine in terms of like being able to visualize everything. So I'm just gonna compare it to mine, see what's because I feel like you have the demon. You have both the demons. Yeah, you have the arc. So both the demons and the arc, and then light wash.
I don't have A, B. Like I have it, I just don't have it in.
It's an extra button to press whenever you're bursting, but it's on a 60-second
Yeah.
cooldown, which is really nice, and it's 60% damage for 10 seconds for other characters, especially with Origin. Just 60% free damage for on top of your Origin is just always nice, you know.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I think we have. Oh yeah, I guess I have the Kane in here instead of the other one. So AB and Kane instead of those two. And you have innate gift, which I don't have. So which one do I have differently on top of that? Oh, and judgment. Yeah, so the kinesis critical damage. Eventually, it's not as much worth, I believe, on archers, but I don't think you're at the critical rate yet where you're getting that diminishing return on critical damage during your vicious shot yet. So I would assume that kinesis is probably still worth it. So those are like the three that I have. You can keep innate gift if you want a little bit more healing, but you're already on a BM, so your healing should be fine.
Yeah.
If you're in a party, you could also replace one of the two, potentially the Cane or the Thief's Cunning, or even Elementalism if you want to, but you can replace one of those with, I want to say it's Noble something. Noble Fire, the Adele link skill.
Oh, yeah, the boss damage one, okay.
For a full party, yeah. Solo, it's like 6% damage, so it'd be a little bit stronger than innate gift. I believe that's 4%, right?
I think it's 5, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's still stronger though. Point stance. But then with a full party, or with at least a 4-man party, it goes up to 12%. So that'll pull a little bit ahead in favor of those ones. I mean, you still have some availability here as well to get them from level 2 to level 3, right? So just with Wild Rage. And as a archer, you probably want the Phantom Link skill in there again for that critical rate, so that you can turn that into critical damage while you're bursting.
Okay. I wasn't sure if like it converted enough to be worth it over like some of these other skills, since it's like just during the skill effect.
Yeah, I think the diminishing returns start coming in once your total critical damage while you're bursting starts like approaching 200%. Yeah, I don't think you're at risk for that yet. So that's why I was also saying like the extra hyper stats, going into the critical rate is probably a good idea at this point. So I think you would replace probably the cane. I think would probably exit, and then you throw in the Phantom there instead. So
Okay.
yeah, so like what was it? So Phantom Kinesis AB instead of Bravado, Rin's Blessing, Innate Gift. That's probably the setup I would use. Kind of work around with that, and then yeah, some of the 2s going into level 3s. We'll add another. There'll be another 5% I think on Solus, another 5% on Wild Rage, and another 5% on Fury Unleashed. So that's another 15% damage, which is kind of like an extra link skill on top of it, right? Just by going a little bit higher in the
the extra
quality.
percentage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, most of those guys, I just gotta get like 20 levels on most of them. I'm just waiting for like hopefully another event with more potions, or just like
yeah.
AFK.
There'll be some There'll be some free XP and all that. Oh yeah, speaking of the AFK, I totally didn't AFK overnight on the character that needed it, so I doubt my bar is even filled up. Whoops, dropping the ball. Drop the ball door. At it again. Yeah, and then from mobbing, I think there was something that I would move around a little bit as well. Where was it? So Thief's Cunning I wouldn't put in here, because that has to do with monsters being debuffed. And when you're mobbing, a lot of time you're going to be one-shotting monsters or killing them very quickly. So you don't want to have the debuff on before it happens. Plus, it's just like Time to Prepare as well. It's not 100% uptime. You kind of want your mobbing setup to be just always constant damage, unless it's like a huge buff, you know. But so I would also throw the Kinesis in here. Not throw in the extra crit rate in here, right? Because that's only during Vicious Shot, and you're not going to be mobbing with Vicious Shot. Because again, that's not 100% uptime, unless you need it during the uptime to be able to kill faster, right? If that makes a significant difference. But here, Bravado is then very useful, right? Especially if you can one-shot, because now it affects every single hit. So now you want it for the mobbing. Innate Gift is a question mark for me. So Innate Gift, Thief's Cunning, and Time to Prepare are question marks for me. I would definitely throw the Kinesis in there. No AB, again, because you're not, buffing like that. Unfair Advantage is a question mark because, again, if you're one-shotting, then you don't get the extra damage bonus from the debuff on it. So it only works half.
Yeah, but you still get the 6 though.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just thinking
6. Yeah.
Like, what else could I even put in?
Exactly. I'm just thinking out loud.
Though.
So just kind of seeing where we would be at. Could see. Oh, of course, I go into one character that doesn't have a mobbing setup that I could just pull up and compare with. Smart, super smart. Let's check another character. I guess that buck that I was just on does have it on. I got sidetracked by the duder.
The juicy EXP.
Yeah, the juicy XP. I mean, at Mercedes, I'm just like crawling that one up to 250 just for the extra like 1% or 2% skill cooldown skill or whatever it is. Hybrid Logic, Keen Edge. Yeah, like the stats usually start coming in for people at that point. You have this one statically, so Pirates. So I keep like 11, but you have a lot of them in common. Yeah, so I have Judgment in there. So I wouldn't put Phantom Instinct in there. I have that one in here for a Buck because Buck has a lot of extra critical rate when you're mobbing, when you're bossing, but not when you're mobbing. So you need to supplement it. Oh yeah, and the Ilium, of course. Yeah, if you're moving around. If you're not moving around, then you just go for flat damage. So then yeah, Hybrid Logic
like
or Pirate Blessing or Cygnus Blessing, like any flat attack, flat stat, like those will all be pretty close, or like, you know, the all stat from Xenon, that'll all be pretty close. But typically you pick that over like Thief's Cunning or Time to Prepare just because it's 100% uptime and you can keep consistently clearing the map versus getting a slight boost sometime but then it being gone another time.
Okay. What, like Judgment Hybrid Logic maybe? Over the other two?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I would if those are your options, yeah, I would definitely pick those. Yeah, for Links and Legion, what I have is just like this big sheet that I made because I noticed that people would advise like these are the best Link skills, and I'd be like, okay, that's true, but characters also give member bonus, and you unlock that while you're leveling the character, so you should always, you know, look at them in concordance with each other, right? Like you have the value of the character is both of them. So I made it like a big list and I put them all into categories, and then I basically just like, okay, I'll just structure the categories in terms of what I think is most important to work on early, and then what is look in descending orders of of importance, plus in the similar categories, and then what is just kind of like bullshit. And then I just reordered the first column of all the classes based on the columns. So that basically came out with the priority that I would, if I were to start a completely new account, that I would build my Legion and my links in, just so that I could have a more like efficiently built, like snowball built Legion. And what comes out of this as well, less obviously so, and at the bottom here you have all the information, right, on like which levels, which ranks, which intervals, and all that. And some have like pictures with like details, because you know, some link skills are not as obvious as some other ones. Like 5% damage is nice. I love that. It's super easy to understand. But when it comes to like, whether you're doing mobbing or bossing, what link skills do you build? It's like, okay, well, what are link skills? Link skill are to clear boxes. Cool. I'm doing mobbing. Okay. Start from the left side. Do you need crit rate? Yes. Okay. Start from the top. Pick them. Do you not need crit rate? Cool. Next one. Critical damage. You know, boom. Pick that. If you don't need critical rate anymore, then you'd want all the crit damage. Now you have more efficiency on that. Damage while mobbing. If you're bossing, you skip this one, obviously. If you're mobbing, you do it. Damage to all monsters, mobbing and bossing, you probably all want those, right? Kali's on the lower percentage, so that's a maybe. But why would it be on here? It also gives some healing. So it's a nice compromise for like link skill number 11 or 12 or something, if you're bossing, so that you get a little bit of utility out of it, and you also get a little bit of damage out of it. If you're doing mainly bossing, you look at the blue category: healing, immunity, IED, damage while bossing, abnormal status. Like, so that structure rolls out as well. The hardest point is like it's very easy to get like your first 8 or 9 link skills out, right? And that you saw that in both of your setups. But then the bottom 3 is where you can start having a little bit of fluctuation. Like if you're an archer, suddenly start trying to pull as much critical rate out of your ass. If you're trying to do bossing that is very spooky, you probably go way harder into survivability. You know, you get the resistance out there, maybe even the sickness for a little bit of abnormal status resistance, but like the death resistance here, right? Then that one becomes really useful. An extra 6 to 7 seconds, right? When you respawn every time of invincibility, allows you to get a bunch of extra damage off, reposition your character in more peace without the boss chasing you down. So then that gets a whole lot of value. And and it shifts back and forth a little bit. In the beginning, you want all the survivability. Then when you know you're going to survive, you just want as much damage as possible. And then when you know you're going to kill it anyway, you want survivability again, because you actually lose more time trying to res and possibly losing damage and burst, rather than just surviving and nuking the boss. So how strong you are can also kind of determine your change setup. But that's the cool thing about the presets, is once you have the preset set up and you just change your preset specifically for your link skills one time, now it's automatically changing your total presets, and you don't need to change anything there anymore. It already automatically connects to that.
Yeah.
I guess the last one for that, if you're going to use the presets, if you've been building your equip presets, I don't know if have you worked with this already?
I have not. Another thing I haven't noticed. To be fair, I didn't notice the Legion system until I was 5.5k Legion.
Okay.
I had never collected a coin. Hadn't collected a coin, never put a character on the grid, nothing.
Well, you know, that's because you were already playing for so long. Legion came out, like, you know, after you started playing or something, you know? So,
yeah, and I probably didn't, like, play during the patch that it came out, so I just had no idea it existed.
You went back and just continued on your merry way, and then suddenly people were like, why is your Legion not on? You're like, what? Yeah, now other people, well, they can't see your Legion, but they can click on you and see a whole lot of your stats, right? So you're much more exposed at this point. If you're doing presets, so preset 2 and 3 are alterations to preset 1. So if you have anything that needs to be worn in multiple presets, it has to be in one. So generally, number 1 should be either your mobbing or your, thank you, Jay, your... Wait, why did you give this up to Dwayne? You have to either be your mobbing or your box preset, so that you can then alter that into full damage accessories basically in number 2, and then maybe into, you know, either more drop rate or more EXP stuff in number 3. Right? Because if you do all your boss in number 1, then you switch to the drop, then you're not going to be able to wear your drop pieces that are both in drop and in box. You're not going to be able to put those both in the preset because they're going to be stuck in either the second or the third one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And same thing with the hybrid quote-unquote damage gear, right? Like your Absos, your Arcanes, your CRA. If you put that in 2 or 3, then it's not going to be able to be in, in 1, which, you know, you could be super weak opening a box, but then if you're super weak mobbing or bossing, that doesn't work either. So that's where the overlap is, Yeah, just as a heads up, because I didn't figure that thing out from the get-go, and I was like switching gear for like 25 minutes, and I was like, wait a minute, okay, I need to just look at what's going on and look at what's happening here. And then once I figured that out, it became a whole lot easier. So I'll try to save you that time, I guess. All right. Any topic, anything that you're having questions about at this point?
Not particularly. So you'd say get the Bowmaster to 265, unlock level 1 and all those hexa skills, see how it feels, and then just like go
bring
from
up
there,
those,
kind of.
Yeah, kind of look for, if there's a 5 and 15, you know, like finish up those 17s. Maybe slowly work towards Superior Golics, right? Keep doing those dailies, those weeklies, like slowly building that up. Try to capitalize on the potential ranks you already have with like with free stuff, but don't like invest more. Mostly save money now, so that when once you unlock 6 and everything on the AB, and you get a little bit more bossing in there, and maybe a little bit of the Hexa build there as well. Just like bare bones, right? Just like level 1s unlocks, same thing. That you can really see, like, does the AB still feel way better, or does the Bowmaster start feeling a little bit more rounded now by fleshing out the things a bit more? And if it does, then you can also easily switch, and you should have a decent amount of money saved at that point, so you can immediately bring the AB a lot closer to the BM. Again, granted that you get some backups before that point, right? But if you do want to commit them more to the AB, probably one of the priorities there would be to check out on the drop rate there and see if that guy needs to get like a big boost in drop rate gear, right? That's your foundation. The quicker you get that, the quicker you get backups, the quicker you can try to go for star forcing higher and get that crazy efficiency on star forcing past 17 and the gains per meso that you can get off of that during events.
So, if I were to stay on the Bowmaster, what do you think I should do with the gear? Obviously, get those 2 potentials into something that actually gives me stats instead of 6%.
Yeah, so I would
and then,
Superior Golics,
Star,
fix up the set, pendant to drop rate, right? I would go to Sweetwater Tattoo to replace your current face. Slime Ring, bring out this guy. If you finally, if you hit some kind of special stat ring eventually, then that can replace the Heroic Cosmos ring, which feel bad because it's 30%. Maybe maybe temporarily, I don't know, at this point it might still be better than the Arcana Treasure Ring, so maybe temporarily it replaces the Arcana Treasure Ring until this guy hits way higher Star Force. That'll also give you a little bit of a freebie to just kind of gamble on the Arcana Treasure Ring without feeling too bad if it doesn't hit, because you'll still have the Cosmos Ring to fall back on. And then if it does hit, you'll know it's a significant enough upgrade compared to the Cosmos Ring, and then you can let go of that one with a little bit more of a clear conscience. But if you get Slime, Stat Ring, Superior, High Star Force, Arcana Treasure Ring, like, the only thing you do there is just get even more on those, but, like, that combination of 4 rings is going to get you, like, into endgame, essentially.
Okay.
So that's, like, that setup. So yeah, pendant-wise, like I said, you could do, like, if you get a Dominate Pendant, you can get it to 16, stand on that, or if you know for sure that you're going to go continue longer, I would advise the option of going into Sweetwater, transposing, and then having a Sweetwater Pendant as your second one next to the Superior Pendant. That's a strong option. We're aiming for the real weapon. Of course, we're trying to hit a box. If you can't, buying a weapon is not a bad option. The CRA will go up to 21 during a Star Force event. Black Beam Marks, just as you have backups, you can get up there. That's a good piece. Slowly, you'll start moving your Abso all into Arcanes, one at a time. Again, hopefully armor boxes. This will be a Superior. This will be an Arcane. This one is really good. The emblem stays for a long time. Italian Guardian will probably eventually get replaced by a 7-day Monster Parker, if that stays your main. So you just keep doing Monster Park, 7 runs daily. Eventually you get that. Lithium Heart here, eventually into Damaged Black Heart from Hard Lotus, but that's going to be quite a bit further down the line. But I would definitely look for a Fairy Heart. It's just such a huge upgrade. It's only worth really cubing on a heart if you have at least a Fairy Heart or one Droid Heart if they ever bring that back. But that's an old event at this point. For a secondary, you could always make a secondary on the side. I wouldn't really do that unless everything you have is already like, you know, you want your CRAs to be 21. You probably want to be going near the end of the process of switching to full arcanes before doing that, because secondaries just have a lot of variance.
Okay.
But so you can have one on the side so that all the solid cubes that your bossing mules make, you have somewhere to dump it, just in case that it hits without extra cost, essentially. And eventually you'll hit something, you switch them out, and then you start doing the same on this guy, just to always make like small upgrades that way. And the cape would be arcane as well. That's like the next steps, I guess. Yeah. Piece that we.
That's good to me.
Overlook. No. That's everything, right? Yep. Yeah, and then of course, the Hexa is gonna... Pumping the Hex up past that point is gonna give your character insanely more damage. And familiar-wise, you want to try to look for that large drop, especially if you're gonna commit to your character. Even just a low-level drop, though, so like the drop rank, like small amount or just drop rate is already 30
I do
to 50%.
have an increases item drop rate familiar. That's like the only good familiar I have.
Yep, that's very nice. That's 50%. That, and then just like 15% IED, if you can get 2 of those. That also will give you a little bit more of a push towards not needing any IED anywhere anymore. And being able to scale down a little bit of that. Might even temporarily give you the ability to just, in your Legion artifact, go more into the boss damage rather than into the IED. And just pump some extra damage out of that. Because otherwise, when you're bossing... Familiars are really, really worthless for a long time on bosses. If you don't need healing, and you don't need it on most of the bosses, or if you don't have healing, IED, flat, just 15% IED is the best value for a long, long time.
Okay. So, try to look for IED familiar, replace some of the IED in my Legion.
Yeah, probably Legion artifact at this point. I mean, your emblem is like the one thing that's giving you the IED, but you're not going to be rolling that anytime soon, so yeah, there's not much else in your optimization. You could, if you maybe take a little bit of IED out of the if you take a little bit of the IED out of the Legion grid and put it into critical rate,
like crit rate maybe? Yeah.
For your burst, that would probably be nice.
Okay.
Oh, and switch your inner stats to attack and dex instead of strength and luck. What is that?
Inner stats. What do you mean?
Press a little arrow, and then on the drop down, select the...
Oh, yeah. I forgot you could do that.
Yeah. You see, that
I'm
is
telling
we
you.
already got you 5 now we got you 10 all stat and 10 weapon attack. You're going to be destroying those bosses now. AB's got to be like, what? And the BM is just going to nail him. Just kidding. It's all small parts of a bigger puzzle, you know. But yeah, I wouldn't push the absolutes anymore. Just like eyes forward towards the upgrading the current pieces that you have, and always look towards what's going to be the cheapest and what's going to be the most likely to upgrade is always the thing that you have the most backups on if you're looking at 17 plus, right? So CRA is high up on that list. Then you have things like kind of treasure rings, maybe Sweetwater things if you're going for that, right? Because of the potentiality for backups. And then it's usually like fodder for stuff, so level 140 fodder stuff into the level 150 superior Gallic stuff. And that's where your big gains are while you're working up towards Arcane. Oh, you got a phone call. If it's going to be long, you could just take that, because I feel like we're wrapping up here anyway. because I think we're good on everything, right? But yeah, good luck on everything. And yeah, if you have any follow-up questions, just hit me up on either Discord or during the chat. You know where I am. You're a sub now, so you know how to find the channel. But yeah, best of luck. And best of luck. I don't know what else to say. Thanks for taking the advice and listening. All right, so for anyone else, hopefully there was some useful stuff in there. Maybe some tips, maybe a little thing here and there that you didn't think about. Maybe some longer thought, broader. It's a very specific situation, always, right? I always try to start off with trying to see what is fun for someone. Where do they enjoy spending their time, and how then from that reference frame can we try to make it, you know, without getting too much bogged down into the mathematics and the efficiencies and all that, but can we still, while keeping it fun, work towards oh, he's back. work towards work towards getting some efficiency from your time, because otherwise mentally it can become difficult to do. But yeah, hopefully that was good for you guys as well to listen to. Check out one of the other sessions on my YouTube channel. Did you have any last words that you wanted to share?
No, that was very helpful. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. But yeah, if you want a session like these, check the description of the video, or check out !coaching over in the chat, in Twitch chat. That's where I stream every day, twitch.tv/Scarter. So feel free to drop by. Everyone's welcome. All of these resources as well that you just found and that you saw, those are all available to everyone during the chat as well. So just put in the command. If you put in !commands, you get the link to all of the commands, and then you can see all of the available commands that you can use in the chat for information that can help you out. And then you can read as much or as little as you want to stay as free or as restricted as you might be by that information. So yeah, thanks for checking out the video. See you on the next one or live on stream.